Okay, so here we are with another unboxing. This is actually going to be a twofer because I'm going to go ahead and open both of these today since they're essentially the same figure. We have two figures of Catwoman from the Batman classic TV series, the 1966 television series starring Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin, the dynamic duo. And here our special guest villains are Julie Newmar as Catwoman and Eartha Kitt also as Catwoman. So I think the intention was that even though they had like three different actresses play the role of Catwoman over the course of the series and the movie that they did, I think they're all supposed to be the same character. Despite any differences with the actresses, like even Eartha Kitt was black. Like who cares? It's like she's still Catwoman. It's just nobody acknowledges it. It's just it doesn't matter in Batman's world. It's like you just accept her as Catwoman. It's almost more like a stage performance where you're not really taking everything so literally. So Mcfarlane did two different figures of Catwoman. They were both released in the same wave, I believe. And we had both of the Catwomen from the television series, which was Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt. Of course, Lee Merriweather was the second Catwoman, but she didn't actually appear on the series proper. She only appeared in the movie. I suspect that Mcfarlane only has the rights to do stuff that's on the series proper and doesn't have access to the stuff that's in the movie. I think that's why the villain's hideout does not have the United Underworld logo in it, and instead just has like the picture with the villains from the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez style guide, because they don't have access to the stuff from the movies. So they made a play set that looked enough like the place, the set from the movie, but not identical to it. And that's why we don't have a Lee Merriweather Catwoman, because otherwise that'd be like a third Catwoman they could sell. So obviously they'd want to do one. And these look to me like they're the exact same figure from the neck down. So just basically like it's a different head sculpt and different skin tone on the neck. But other than that, the bodies look like they're molded in the same type of plastic. They just used a different paint for the neck and completely different head. So let's go ahead and let's have a look at the packaging first, because there's some things I want to note about this packaging. So mostly it's the same as we've seen on this line so far. But one thing that I find is kind of an odd difference is that Julie Newmar has like this photograph, like this publicity still of her as Catwoman on the back, whereas Eartha Kitt has what looks like a photograph of the action figure. It might be the digital sculpt, but it might or maybe it's a paint master or something like that. But it looks really nice. It's a nice picture, but it's clearly a picture of the toy and not a picture of the actress. So I kind of wonder why that decision was made. Like maybe they just didn't have a picture of Eartha Kitt that they were happy with. Maybe they wanted to have a picture of Julie Newmar's figure instead of the actual actress, but they couldn't get a good picture. I don't know. It's just strange to me. While we're at it, let's go ahead and discuss some of the packaging variations that I have in this line, because there seems to be, like, to me, at least three separate sublines within this line. So let's talk about that a little bit. So we notice Catwoman's packaging has this Batman logo with the green flash behind it. Sean Franklin, yeah, I miss Adam West every day. that was my childhood hero. So yeah, it's like definitely the world is poorer without Adam West's presence in it, I think. So yeah, we see that it's got a Batman logo with a green flash behind it. It says classic TV series. So, and then there's the back. And if we look at the Mr. Freeze figure that I'll probably open him up tomorrow, we can see that he has the same sort of design. He has a picture of Otto Preminger on the back, and they all three of these have the same cross-cell art with the photograph of the Batmobile in the Batcave with Batman and Robin inside. Now, the second variation on this packaging that I have is the Batman 66 packaging. And this, of course, is uh, inspired by the comic book Batman 66, which was based on the 1966 television series, which was based on the comic book. So, yeah, but this is like how they use this as an excuse to make various characters that were not necessarily in the TV show, but they were in the comic book that was based on the TV show, like Two-Face here, for example. And I believe they exploited that as a loophole so that they could do Batgirl, because they were, I guess, having problems with getting the license for Yvonne Craig's likeness. Maybe the estate wanted too much money. Maybe the estate just didn't want to let them have the rights at all. Maybe Mcfarlane was just too cheap to give them the money that they wanted. I don't know. I'm not passing judgment here. I'm just saying that, like, you know, they were having struggles getting the likeness to Yvonne Craig, so they wanted just being like, well, this is what she looked like in the comic book. This isn't Yvonne Craig. So if I was able to get a hold of that figure, which maybe I will one day, it will have the Batman 66 logo on there instead of the TV series logo. And then lastly, we have these New Adventures of Batman figures, which are based on the Filmation cartoon from the late 70s, The New Adventures of Batman. And the model sheets were more based off of Carmine Infantino's artwork. So they definitely have a very Silver Age sort of look to them, but they're not the same as, you know, figures based on the live action show. But this is still considered a spin-off line and has the Batman Classic TV series logo on there, since you know, Adam West and Burt Ward did provide the voices of the dynamic duo in the animated series. So that's all three of those so far. And honestly, I think they could probably take it a little further. Like there was those TV specials in the 1970s, Legends of the Superheroes, if you remember those. And they had all kinds of characters on those that they could expand into. Like, you know, if they did a subset of Legends of the Superheroes in this line, you know, Adam West and Burt Ward were Batman on that, and Robin on that, and, you know, Frank Gorshin was the Riddler. So you could say it takes place in that universe. You can make that argument. And then that would give you an excuse to make characters like Flash and Green Lantern and Captain Marvel and Black Canary and the Huntress. And like Huntress, I think would probably be out of those the most relevant, since she's actually a Batman character. Let's see. What else was there to say about that before I open them up? I think that's everything. I think I can get to actually opening them up now. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll start with Julie Newmar, since she did play Catwoman first. She was the first TV Catwoman. I feel like it's appropriate to open her figure up. Now, I got these from my friend Rudy, who lives in California, and apparently they were quite plentiful out there and actually went on clearance. I don't think I ever saw them out here. I think I might have seen like one of the Catwomans, but I don't remember which one. It's been so long. I'm pretty sure I never saw Mr. Freeze. But he found them on clearance, and he sent them to me, and I very much appreciate that. When he asked me, hey, I found these for cheap. Do you want them? I'm like, yeah, I'll take them. That's great. Because I knew eventually I was going to get into collecting this line, and I would be kicking myself later on if I didn't go ahead and, you know, take advantage of getting them for a sale price while I could. And of course, now all those figures are selling for secondary prices for like $40 from what I've seen on like Amazon or eBay or anything like that, if you can find them. So like I said, these figures should be pretty much the same from the neck down, and I'll compare for certain later. I'm just kind of pre-working her joints here to make sure that I don't have any nasty surprises. Make sure I get that all loosened up. Get her all loosened up. Ew. So, and remember, never force your action figure joints. Always gently coax them, and if they don't move that way, apply some heat to it. Use a hairdryer or some hot water. With these, since like, you know, I know they have like some of them have these fabric capes permanently attached to them. and some of them, a lot of them have like these really detailed paint apps on the face. I wouldn't want to mess any of those up. I would definitely recommend the hair dryer method. So let's talk a little bit about our articulation while I'm at it. The shoulders are kind of stiff on her, but they do rotate all the way around, and they go up about that far. So nice range of motion there. They go down about that far. Okay, then we have elbows that they are just single jointed elbows, bend about that far, but they got a good range of motion on the elbows. And of course, the elbows should rotate all the way around. There we go. I'm going slow with this because, like I said, her joints are kind of stiff. So she's a brand new figure. And, she is like, since she is a female figure, she does have like a little bit more of a slender build than these dudes who have these thick arms. So I don't want to take a chance on breaking her. This is a great head sculpt, by the way. It looks just like her. Excellent job. She's got like this almost kind of Mona Lisa smile on her face. This mask is a separate piece of plastic that appears to be glued onto the face, so it is not a removable mask, unfortunately. But it is a separate piece of plastic, probably just so it doesn't quite it's not like as flush to the face. It gives them the ability to give it a little more 3 dimensions to it. And I'm sure some of you are wondering, and I don't blame you. She does have like an accurate booty to the show, so we can recreate that shot from the show. That's become a meme these days. You know who I'm talking about. They knew what they were doing. So, where she's kind of bending over that table and Batman's just there kind of, oblivious. Let's go ahead and have her next to Batman and see what they look like together. She's very tall. Of course, Julie Newmar was very tall, so that makes sense. So, I think she was probably taller than Eartha Kitt. So I'm going to look that up real quick. Let me look it up on my phone. We'll see how tall that Eartha Kitt was versus Julie Newmar. Because I know I saw a picture of them next to each other, and Julie just towered over her and Lee Merriweather. I want to say like that Eartha Kitt was the shortest of the 3 Catwomen, and Julie Newmar was the tallest. So it's Eartha Kitt height. We'll see how tall she was. She was 5'4". Okay, and Julie Newmar. Julie Newmar height. I think she was like 5'10", 5'11". So yeah, she was a tall gal. So it also has on here on the little Google thing where I got Julie Newmar's height. It says Adam West was 6'2", Lee Merriweather was 5'9", so she was almost but not quite as tall as Julie Newmar. Zoe Kravitz is 5'2". So yeah, she might be the shortest Catwoman. Oh man, now I'm falling down a rabbit hole to see how tall Catwomen are. So let's go ahead and check Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer was my favorite, except maybe Julie Newmar. It's one of those two. Michelle Pfeiffer height. She's 5'7". All right, and for the sake of completion, our last actress that played Selena Kyle in the movies. Cameron Bicondova played Selena Kyle, but she was playing Selena Kyle as a kid, so I'm not going to compare her height. I don't think that's relevant to this. And of course, before anybody asks, Halle Berry did not play Selena Kyle, so I'm not going to look Halle Berry up. Sorry. So now that I deleted everything, it just says height Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise apparently is the person that people look up his height the most. They look up his height the most. Sorry, I sound like Sylvester. I don't know. It's got a little tongue tied there. And Hathaway height. So she's 5'8". So yeah, Julie Newmar is the tallest Catwoman of at least of the ones I've just looked up. She's the tallest. Zoe Kravitz is the shortest, and Eartha Kitt is just barely a little taller than Zoe Kravitz. So it's probably not accurate at all in terms of scale that they use Julie Newmar and Eartha Kitt for the same figure, but we're going to let that slide. She actually stands a little bit taller than Batman, which if you consider the fact that Julie Newmar was only like 3 inches shorter than Adam West and she's wearing high heels, I think that's accurate enough. I think that's close enough to accurate. She should be like rather statuesque. And I'm going to forgive them for making Eartha Kitt too tall proportionally. She should not be as tall as Julie Newmar. I know, but let's not expect them to make like a whole different figure just for like the sake of what would be like maybe a half an inch shorter as far as like the figure goes. So yeah, we're going to talk about articulation. I got distracted talking about height. So she looks up about that far, looks down about that far. Again, not a great range of motion in terms of the looking up and down on these figures, but I kind of think they just really just intended the figure's head to be able to turn around, and any kind of tilt we can get to it, any which direction is a bonus. So you can't really get like the quizzical head tilt I like to get out of sometimes, but her head does rotate all the way around, so you can get that Beetlejuice action out of it. The arms rotate all the way around. We already discussed that, didn't we? The elbows, she has wrist articulation, so her wrists rotate all the way around. She has a waist articulation, so her waist rotates all the way around. Her leg goes back about that far. She got a little bit of a booty on her, so that kind of interrupts that. You can actually see where like it's kind of bumping into the belt a little bit and causing like a little distortion of the belt there. And her legs kick forward about that far. So, well, I need a little move a little further. The belt is a separate piece. So I don't have Batgirl, but I kind of wonder if they reuse some parts between Catwoman and Batgirl, if they share any parts. It would not surprise me. So I do have, even though I don't have the purple Batgirl, the one in the actual TV show outfit, I do have the blue and gray Batgirl from New Batman Adventures on pre-order. So when I get her in, I will compare the parts on her and Catwoman and see which one is what parts they share. She has very pointy heels, like super pointy. It almost makes me think of like the razor sharp heels that Anne Hathaway had when she played Catwoman. Like maybe there's some of that going on. And there's no hole in the bottom of the foot. Like most of these figures have a hole in the bottom of the foot for a figure stand, but Catwoman doesn't. I guess there just wasn't room because of the high heel. So you're just going to have to, balance her on your shelf and just have faith that she's not going to fall over. So let's go ahead and, I didn't talk about the automatopoeia she comes with. So she does come with 2 of the automatopoeia, and one is this one that says, "Aye!" And the other one is this one that says, "Yow!" And "yow" is one of my favorite ones from the TV show because you can see like the O actually has like a little tongue sticking out of it, and it goes, "Ah!" Like actually yelling "yow" in there. So that's kind of neat. And Eartha Kitt, she comes with the same automatopoeia, so we won't have to go over those again. So let's go ahead and open her up. Our second of 2 Catwomen. Come on. Man. I don't know. Some of these like the Mcfarlane superpowers, it just seems like the adhesive barely holds the card on there, but these it's just like it's just wanting to rip this card to shreds. So let's go ahead and get her opened up. So one thing I really like about the Catwoman actresses as a whole is they all seem really supportive of one another. And even to the point where like Julie Newmar has said many times that even though she was the one who actually invented the Catwoman purr, you know, perfect, that whole thing. She's even said that she thinks Eartha Kitt did it better than she did it. So, you know, you would think some of these actresses could be kind of catty, but that's not the case. They've all been really supportive of each other. I mentioned Cameron Bikanova, who played Selena Kyle, the young Selena Kyle, on the Gotham television series. And I remember seeing a talk show where they had both her and Julie Newmar on there, and Julie Newmar just had nothing but nice things to say about this girl and her portrayal of the character that she had originated, and even brought her, like, as a present, like a Barbie doll of the 1966 version of Catwoman that she'd autographed, and she's like, I think it looks more like you than it does like me. It was really sweet, and you could tell, like, Cameron was just so excited to meet the original Catwoman, and she just had the biggest smile on her face, and I think it probably just made her day that Julie Newmar was you know, just had such nice words to say about her. So that was really sweet. And of course, there's pictures from that TV Land Awards ceremony where we had all three of our Catwomen together with Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, and Eartha Kitt. As Adam West says, the only real Catwoman was Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. I'd add Michelle Pfeiffer to that. I like Michelle Pfeiffer. So, I should check and see if there's not a boot cut. Okay, just making sure. All right, so here is Eartha Kitt out of the package, and we can see that much like Julie Newmar, it's an excellent likeness of the actress. Looks just like her. She's got those razor sharp cheekbones. That sort of, she had like a she was I think a good choice to play Catwoman because she had that sort of feline face to it. I always say the other actresses were good actresses who played Catwoman well, but Eartha Kitt just was Catwoman. Like I think she just showed up on the set in the outfit, and they said, you know what, let's keep her. We'll have her in this episode. We'll just have her team up with the Joker or whatever. It's cool. I always really liked Eartha Kitt's hairstyle here. It was probably some sort of like wig or hairpiece or something, so that, you know, they could keep it consistent. But like how she has this sort of braid with like the hair pulled up through the braid. It's kind of a, you know, almost like a 1960s version of Princess Leia kind of thing going on. Like sort of the hairstyle like Princess Leia had in like the later two movies, not the cinnamon buns on the side of her head. Although Barbara Gordon had that hairstyle in the 1960s before Princess Leia ever had it. So that's worth noting. And she has a different shaped mask. It's also a separate piece, and it's probably also glued on. It ain't gonna come off. But it looks like they did paint her eyebrows underneath the mask. I can see a little bit of her eyebrow peeking up there. So yeah, the mask is molded in the same type of plastic as the figure itself, which I haven't talked about yet. But in the show, Catwoman had this kind of sparkly fabric outfit, and it's the same kind of outfit that like Batgirl had when she showed up on the show. But yeah, there's various ways you could accomplish this in action figure form. But what they did here is it's like a slightly translucent plastic with some glitter embedded in it. So you can kind of see her sparkling a little bit. And it's not quite a true black, because I don't know how you would get a true black in terms of like a translucent plastic like that. I think probably the best you could do would be like a really, 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 really dark gray. Because like, if it's going to be translucent, it's not going to be true black. That's just not. But it does appear to me to have like kind of a greenish sort of sheen to it. And anybody who is an aficionado of the Silver Age comics like myself, you're going to remember that when they adapted this particular costume into the Batman comic book, they colored it green. It was just kind of, they just kind of put scales on it like it was chainmail or something. I guess that was the only way they could figure out how to do that sparkly texture in a comic book context. And then they just colored the thing green. I probably would have gone with purple, personally. I think purple's a good color for Catwoman. I really like her in purple outfits. But they chose green for whatever reason. So, but also when they did the Filmation Batman cartoon in the 60s, that was what they based her outfit on. So she had like a similar outfit to this, but in green instead of black. And she had a white mask. I don't know why they went with a white mask. A lot of odd decisions with Catwoman's costuming over the years. So, I find it works best to keep it something basic, just a bodysuit with a mask or a cowl, and make it purple or black. Those are the colors that generally work best. Gray worked all right in Batman the Animated Series, but I tend to lean towards purple or black, one of those two colors, or a combination thereof. She could have a purple bodysuit with black boots and gloves, or black bodysuit with purple boots and gloves, or whatever. They went with black on the TV show, and I think it worked just fine. So let's go ahead and have her next to Adam West here. You can see what Batman and Catwoman look like next to each other. Now, they did kind of tone down a little bit of the romantic attraction and the sexual tension between these characters when Eartha Kitt came on. And I think that was an unfortunate side effect of, like, the fact that, it would have been like an interracial relationship, and that was maybe considered a little too controversial at the time. I don't think the people making the show had that problem. I remember seeing, who was it? Not Lorenzo Semple, the other writer that worked on the show a lot. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. He wrote on the Wonder Woman TV pilot, and Stanley Ralph Ross. Okay, all right, Stanley. He also did some voice acting, and he was actually the voice of Gorilla Grodd on Super Friends. So there's a fun trivia fact. The guy who did the voice of Gorilla Grodd on Super Friends wrote for the Batman television show, and he was the guy who wrote most of the Catwoman episodes because he had a good handle on Catwoman. So, but yeah, Stanley Ralph Ross had written in there that he wanted to do a story where, like, Catwoman wanted to blackmail Batman into marrying him, and the network wouldn't let it do it because they thought it would be too controversial since, she was a black woman and Batman was a white guy, and, like, that might not play in the South or something like that. Some kind of ridiculousness like that. And it's really unfortunate because, like I said, she was a great Catwoman, and it's too bad they kind of had to tone some of that down. So it's just a bunch of silliness. So anyway, but that doesn't. Hey, look at censors. I'm having my black Catwoman make out with my white Batman. I can do it on my show. Catwoman, you cause curious stirrings in my utility belt. So they wound up getting married. Screw you, Tom King. They get married in my continuity. There we go. But what about Julie Newmar? We don't want to leave her out. They'll be polyamorous together or something. Anyway, I think these are probably some of the best figures that I've come across in this line so far. The likenesses are excellent. The costuming detailing is fantastic. The articulation is really good. I can't get over what a good job they did making these two. It kind of makes me sad that we probably won't get a Lee Merriweather to go along with them. I think that would be like a really cool display. What would be to have all three of the Catwoman on the shelf together. Although there's a loophole that I think might work, is that Lee Merriweather was in the animated movies also. She played a separate character from Catwoman, but there was a scene where Catwoman broke out of prison, and she'd like basically broken out by like knocking the Lee Merriweather character. She was a lawyer, knocked her unconscious, took her outfit, and left her in the cell in the Catwoman outfit. So they could, I think, they could probably get a hold of the rights to the animated movies that Warner Brothers did and do an animated version of the Lee Merriweather Catwoman. Just reuse this whole body, make a new head that looks like Lee Merriweather. Oh, of course it looks like Lee Merriweather. She did her voice on the cartoon, so it makes perfect sense that the figure would look like Lee Merriweather. Coincidentally enough. Oh, she was Catwoman in the movie. Oh, I forgot all about that. So maybe that's how they could get around that and give us a Lee Merriweather figure. But I guess for now I will just be happy with these two. They did a great job on both of them, so I'm happy with them. And if you were happy with this episode, make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Catwoman, these figures, and just the character in general. Who do you think was the best live action Catwoman? Like I said, for me, it's kind of a toss up between Julie Newmar and Julie Newmar and Michelle Pfeiffer. I really like Michelle Pfeiffer. Lee Merriweather was great. Eartha Kitt was great. Kind of the joke is this that like Halle Berry was my second favorite Catwoman, and all the other Catwomans were tied for first. Well, hello, Wolverine. Wolverine just popped in for the chat, right as unfortunately I'm about to be ending the stream. So, but it's good to see you. I was just talking about your co-star Halle Berry, and how she was my second favorite Catwoman after everybody else tied for first. So I think tomorrow I will open Mr. Freeze. That was the other figure that my friend Rudy had sent me. Shout out to Rudy if you're watching this. Again, grateful to have these. I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to opening them, but it's things get hectic. But it was one of those things also where I wasn't like, do you like the patch Wolverine figure? It looks pretty cool to me. I don't have it yet, but I would like to get it. I was a big fan of also the Peter David run on the Incredible Hulk, and when he was the Gray Hulk and he became Mr. Fix-It in Las Vegas. I remember really liking that storyline. So I kind of want to have that 2-pack, not just because, not just because of Patch, but because of the Hulk also. And I really wanted to get the other figure based on the Wolverine solo series of the time, like where he had the black outfit with kind of the mesh over his face. But unfortunately, I never got around to getting that one. So, but I would like to get that one of these days, hopefully. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about these figures, and we will talk to you next time. Goodbye. I'm going to click on end stream now, and that's going to ask me if I